So I wrote this poem about a year after my father died. He died in the same year that I became a mom. And so there was this contrast of events that was really intense for me. And I wrote a lot of poems to process this anticipatory grief that resulted from my father's illness and then the loss after he passed away. And I looked at writing poems like these as a way of doing something tangible and maybe even healthy with these impossible to categorize emotions. Um, my relationship with my dad was really fraught. There were long periods of arguments and physical distance. I moved out of my parents' house quite young as a result of his drinking. And so what I found was that I still had this feeling of like this door being left open and was waiting for reconciliation for probably most of our relationship. And then when he died, that chance at redemption was suddenly gone. And that didn't make it any easier to lose him. And so when I was working through the grief after my father's passing, I learned a lot through the process of writing and the slow process of editing, of going back over words and asking the poem what it really wanted to say. And from that came this notion that a narrative isn't really static, right? We tell ourselves a lot of things and believe those things in retrospect to be okay with how events unfold and to also give them meaning. And that's a part of the human experience that's always really fascinated me because it's how we survive, but it's also how we write stories of our identities and of the identities of the people who make us who we are. And people are not very easy to condense down to stories. And so we end up sort of taking these memories out of their boxes and then seeing them differently over time. And those memories change as a response of and as a response to being pulled out and being relived. And so maybe that's the only way that a redemption arc is still possible after people die. And so this poem was an attempt to kind of take a look at that. It's called It Was Only in the After That My Father Took on His Gentleness. I've learned the dead continue to change after death. Each time I dusted off a home video, living in the shoebox of memories, and projected it onto a curtain shifting in the window of the present, the light seemed to wash his shadow clean, as if beatified by memory. Like that one visit home, when he sat on the floor in the doorway, polishing the scuffs from my boots. He grabbed my hands. They were softer than I remember. Leather polish soaked into the calluses he built while raising me. Vodka on his breath, he insisted, "My hands carry electricity. Can you feel it? I don't know what to do with this power. When I place them on my chest, I feel small shocks." Then he pissed in the sphagnum moss lining the ficus in the hall and stumbled to the red leather sofa in his music studio. Later, I found him snoring, knees curled in like a child. I left him there, hands folded across his chest, to heal whatever was hurting in his sleep.